Our friend Phelim McAleer, the filmmaker behind Frack Nation, has been banned from a film festival in Minnesota. It was scheduled to appear. As you know, it's an outstanding movie. We showed it to you several times over the course of the last year, including during our December Film Festival right here on the Sun News Network. Beautifully shot, meticulously researched, done with a style and a sense of humor. Some dramatic moments, too, like when some anti-fracking activist threatened to pull a gun on him if he didn't stop asking questions, or when an anti-fracking bureaucrat demanded that he hand over his videotape. I mean, hell of a movie. And as you know, it was funded through crowdfunding. Phelim put the word out to the general public that he wanted to make the movie, and literally thousands of individual people from around the world chipped in $10, $100, whatever, to make the film. So it's probably the most independent documentary you've ever seen, which is important on spicy topics like fracking. Great movie. And I think that's exactly why it was banned from the Frozen River Film Festival, because it was so good. Precisely because it was so persuasive. It demolishes Josh Fox's anti-fracking film called Gasland. Now, the main complaint of the film festival was that it had concerns with the funding in the film. Funny, have you ever heard that concern before? Have you ever heard a left-wing documentary like one by Michael Moore banned because it was funded by the wrong kind of people? How about Al Gore's propaganda film called An Inconvenient Truth? Of course not. The fact that he was a left-wing partisan, a failed Democratic candidate for president, didn't defend film festivals or the Oscar committee that awarded one to him. It was proof of his nobility. Or that lame box office bomb featuring Matt Damon, a weird anti-fracking smear called Promised Land. It was actually funded in part by an OPEC country in the United Arab Emirates. They hate fracking over there because it's competition. You'd never have Matt Damon blackballed because of the source of his film finances, or take Gasland itself, the original anti-fracking propaganda film, the one that Frack Nation so ably rebuts. An employee of the Venezuelan State Film Authority actually worked on Gasland. Let me say that again. An employee of the OPEC nation of Venezuela helped create the film. This was under Hugo Chavez, the authoritarian bully, when he was still alive. I mean, that is shocking. A foreign government assisting an anti-fracking movie to demonize oil and gas in America. I'd understand if a film festival didn't want to air state propaganda like Gasland. But Gasland has never been banned for its foreign ties. In fact, get this, you won't believe this, the Frozen River Film Festival will air not one, but two anti-fracking films, including Gasland 2, the sequel. So, no problem with iffy funding. Just a clear decision to have a one-sided presentation on fracking. Only the anti-fracking side. This isn't the first time that Phelim has been kicked out of a film festival. Alec Baldwin's Hamptons International Film Festival kicked him off a panel. Alec Baldwin was the censor himself. He personally accused Phelim of being a corporate shill. Yeah, about being a corporate shill?
I wouldn't do that.
Get married?
No, I wouldn't use that single miles credit card. Nice ring. Knock it off. Ignore him.
With the Capital One Venture Card, you earn
double miles on every purchase.
3D is so real, Larry.
I'm right here, Larry. If you're not earning double miles, you're settling for half.
Really?
A plaid tie? What are we in prep school?
Get the Venture Card at CapitalOne.com and earn double miles on every purchase every day.
What's in your wallet? I was going to say that.
Yeah, Capital One is a bank with a stock market capitalization of $41 billion. Alec Baldwin, the pure artist who would never besmirch his film festival by taking money from a bank or something, he blackballed Phelim McAleer, who crowdsourced his film in dribs and drabs. Or Robert De Niro's Tribeca Film Festival also kicked out Phelim McAleer and dozens of other pro-fracking filmgoers who had bought tickets to see Gasland 2 at a screening. Gee, it's almost like there's a Hollywood blacklist out there. In the 1950s, it was against communists who were actually trying to subvert the United States. Now it's against capitalists who support the United States and its oil and gas. Now the blacklist defends foreign-funded anti-fracking propaganda. But that's just Hollywood think-alikes. What's more dangerous is the Obama administration's war on artistic opinion. Take this guy, Dinesh D'Souza. He's a former writer with National Review magazine, and he produced the second most commercially successful political documentary of all time, called 2016, Obama's America. It was released in the summer of 2012 before the presidential election. The film was a huge box office hit. And it surely bothered the Obama campaign that one filmmaker in all of Hollywood dared to criticize Obama. No doubt armies of partisan investigators began digging into D'Souza. I don't know if he's being audited by the IRS, but it wouldn't shock me. They did say, though, that he bundled $20,000 in donations improperly in the last election. Could be, I don't know. I mean, it's possible. American elections are massive things. The rules are complicated. Bundlers are quite popular. Obama's campaign itself regularly broke fundraising rules, such as accepting foreign donations on their online credit card facilities. Fine. But you wouldn't believe what they did to him. They charged D'Souza and demanded he be jailed, and he was only released on $500,000 bail and surrendering his passport. Let me say that again. $20,000 accounting question. No charge of corruption or theft or fraud, just an error in accounting. And $500,000 bail to stay out of jail, passport seized, the full weight of a massive federal prosecution like he's a Watergate criminal or a terrorist or something. Now, do you think a man is being threatened with 2 years in jail and out on $500,000 bail because of an accounting error? Or do you think it's because of his massively successful, massively embarrassing to Obama movie, 2016, and his plans to launch a sequel movie this summer called America? That's the name of his sequel. But before you answer, let me remind you of Nicola Basile Nicola, who wrote a film called The Innocence of Muslims. It was a weird, low-budget, online-only film. Nobody in the world really saw it, but it was the excuse used by Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama for why the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, Libya, was attacked on the anniversary of 9/11 in the election year 2012. It was an absurd claim that some YouTube video that was apparently watched en masse in Libya caused hundreds of people to go out and get rocket-propelled grenades and machine guns to attack the consulate for hours, killing 4 people, including the ambassador. I mean, it was a crock. But of course, the media party bought it. Even though within 24 hours, the U.S. government knew for a fact the attackers were al-Qaeda, they kept blaming this YouTube filmmaker in California because it was an election year, and if Americans thought al-Qaeda could still destroy a U.S. target like that, it might not look so good on Obama. So look at how the U.S. administration lied about this. Look.
I also want to take a moment to address the video circulating on the internet that has led to these protests.
Well, it is in response to a video.
It began spontaneously in Benghazi, sparked by this hateful video.
It was a crude and disgusting video, sparked outrage throughout the Muslim world. There's no video that justifies an attack on an embassy.
Liar. And surprised, that filmmaker was thrown in jail for using an alias. Seriously, that's the pretext for throwing him in jail. Hey, better tell Jay-Z or Bono or Sting or other celebrities that use an alias that could put them in jail. Oh, but only if they anger King Obama. Could you imagine if this were happening under George W. Bush? There were a dozen anti-Bush movies during his administration. Anti-war, anti-capitalism, anti-Bush himself. I mean, I'm not just talking about Michael Moore. I'm talking about a snuff film, Death of a President. Remember that one? In which Bush himself is killed in this fantasy work of art. That film won critics awards everywhere, including in Toronto. It's unthinkable that Hollywood would even pitch such a film about Obama. I mean, they're all Democrat donors, and the odd Republican in Hollywood, like Clint Eastwood, has too much class and talent to do that kind of a movie. But just imagine if Bush had used some pretext, an unpaid parking ticket or a late tax payment, to throw that filmmaker in jail. You don't need to imagine, because Bush was regularly denounced as an enemy of freedom and free speech during his term when he did no such thing of censorship. You couldn't go to a celebrity gala, the Oscars, the Grammys, without some denunciation of Bush for being such a totalitarian. So where was the denunciation of the imprisonment of Nicola Nicola? I'm not saying it was a good movie. It looked like crap to me, but in a free country, you're allowed to make crappy movies without being thrown in jail by the king. Where was the denunciation at last night's Grammys of the $500,000 bail bond for a filmmaker who dared to criticize the president? Hollywood is just like the rest of the media party. They claim they love the U.S. First Amendment and freedom of speech, but they don't really mean that. They mean they love free speech for themselves. They want the right to say whatever they want to say. But for their political opponents, nah, Those Republicans, they had it coming.